Good morning. Denise Dryden here. I'm out on Bainbridge Island and it's pouring outside and the wind is blowing. So I rigged up something really fast to sit inside and tell you a little bit about today's topic, which is being a rogue parent. Now, I've spent the last 4 months addressing this core set of topics that seem to weave themselves together and formulate a really interesting approach to how to be a conscious parent, how to be a intentional parent, both to your child, but also to yourself. Because what we're learning right now is with a lot of the changes in identifying whether we're, sensitives, whether what works, what doesn't work for us, reparenting or reframing has been sort of a really important part of learning and growing as we go into our adulthood. And I'd be the first to say, as a baby boomer, reparenting has been a phenomenal piece for me to reframe each of the different things that I experienced growing up and as a parent and as a single mom again. And it's phenomenal to watch what actually falls into place when I start paying attention. So these topics that I've been covering, and I've got my notes, of course, they go from being a novice, really owning that it's time to learn something new. Subjugation, how powering over appears, where it appears in our family system, in our lives. Using space and time to integrate, to settle, to self-soothe. Empowerment. How to empower yourself, but also how to empower each other. And to notice, hey, I saw you doing something really cool. Self-advocacy. Wow, self-care. If we don't teach self-care, how are our kids ever going to understand how important it is, right? Being seen. How to see somebody else and how to see yourself and how to really just pay attention from a different level. And now I want to talk about going rogue. It's really like the true essence of the rebel. And I pulled the rebel last night in one of my tarot cards, and I was like, yes, here we go. This is where it starts. This is where I starting to stretch you just a little bit out of your comfort zone, I hope. So to me, these are the tools of creating presence and awareness. And those are the two pieces that seem to matter the most with these kiddos that are needing us to guide them and mentor them forward. So being rogue requires courage, absolute courage, self-knowledge, and a huge amount of rebel energy, right? It's like, I have to stretch, I have to separate, I have to go against the grain. Because when we define rogue, it's to cease to follow orders. When someone goes rogue in the military, they cease to follow orders. They're not doing what they were supposed to do. They're not doing what the plan was, right? To act on one's own, or to go against the expectations of a construct. Like, this is the world, this is where you're supposed to go. When you go separate from that, you're out in uncharted territory. And, those of us who live in America, we know a lot about that pioneer sort of rebel, rogue behavior. So stepping out of societal norms. There's a lot of urban dictionary stuff about rogue from the sexual perspective. I'm going to put it into the societal perspective, that when we go rogue, we step away from all of those things that society says, this is what's normal, right? To step out of societal norms as a parent, this is humongously, is that a word? Difficult. And it's what our children need. It's what I believe our children need. So just to give you a little background, one of the primary roles that I play as a coach is I work with therapeutic programs, and I coach parents who have their teen in programs away from home, boarding programs. And when I go through the testing, what I see is a really consistent pattern right now. And I see a lot of anxiety, social anxiety, phobias, school anxiety, depression, ADHD. This is interesting. Attention, and they can't really define it. It's like they don't fit the criteria for ADHD, but they're close. Scattered IQ. So that means that anywhere from the verbal comprehension, it might be something around 130, 120. And then the processing speed may be down in the 85 to 90s. So anytime I see like a 20 to 25 point spread around in the IQ testing, it's like, this is getting interesting. Lots of low processing. As I said, it's almost like there's a consistency in the processing speed hanging out between 85 and 90. Executive functioning skills are deficit. There's holes in executive functioning, sequencing, planning, organizing, and a lot of medicating with cannabis, especially those 12 to 15-year-olds. They've decided that cannabis is the one thing that's going to help them calm down. And at the core of most of this is school refusal. I'm not going to school. I'm not doing this. You can't make me. And they play dead. You know, they just lay in bed. You can't get them up. You can't get them to dress. And you can't get them off video games. You can't get them to do anything. They're just stuck. So when I play with these ideas in this particular combination, what I notice is that usually it's overwhelm. It's a reaction to being really highly sensitive or empathic. It also means that we're talking about a kid who's bright, intelligent, creative, curious, observant, determined, quirky. Now, if you have one of those kids, or if you are one of those kids, small nurturing elementary schools probably hid it for a while. It was like, yeah, I could do elementary school. I could, as long as I knew who my friends were and I knew how to navigate through life, I did pretty well. But then there's this wall that comes up in middle school. Too many teachers, too many classes, too many new kids, too many mean kids, too many weird things. And what we see is a lot of imploding, like, oh, they're not doing very well. And I thought they were straight A kids in elementary school. So what we have is this informed sort of, now, this isn't working. What are we going to do with this now? And what I notice is that it means that the environment that our kids are going to on a daily basis isn't working for them. It isn't working for them on any level. So I'm going to put my finger right on those environments that they seem to push against consistently. And please keep in mind that these kids are unique and they're different. And it means that they're going to take us to an uncharted territory. They're here to teach us. Right? So what they're going to do first and foremost is that they're going to say historical educational approaches don't work with me. I'm not a linear thinker. I'm a quantum thinker. I need to be able to multitask and do a lot of different things and find my own path and sequence information in my own way. Role restrictions, anything that has defined role restrictions like girls, boys, genders, race, religion, anything like that, they're going to go, no. They don't see people like that. Again, religious expectations. This is how I practice my faith, and I'm going to impress or impose that faith onto you. They're like, no, that doesn't work for me. And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. Societal expectations and beliefs. Limited life insights. You know, like this, if there's a tunnel vision that this is the way that we do life, this is the way we work, this is the way we do family, this is the way we do vacation, there's a lot of rebellion against the rigidity of that. And I'm going to put in there, just because I get to talk about this, is food. You know, processed dead food just doesn't help this system on any level. So we're talking about nutrition. So in order to go rogue, you have to actually own the fact that you're going to hack life. You're going to start collecting the pieces of life that work for you and start putting them together in some sort of sequence that works for you. So I'm going to suggest that you look at a couple of options. One is to look at learning environments that stimulate discovery. Absolutely stimulate discovery. Like, make it interesting for you and your child to learn. and that they support this effortless creativity, this idea that creativity is intrinsic. It comes out whether we want it to or not. How do we support that? And then how do you get involved in this learning environment and blossom and grow with them as well? This isn't just a one-way learning. Center your life around a stimulating educational system, or, as I'm going to find out, create your own. Create your own. And that might be really creative, like start a school. Or get some parents together and start a school. Or create a system that works that might be something like they go to school in the morning, and in the afternoon they get to specialize in the things that they want. Because what we're doing is we're hack schooling. And look up hack schooling on YouTube, and you'll see this amazing 13-year-old kid who lives in Tahoe, who's hack schooling his life and is brilliant at what he likes to do. Explore alternatives to traditional allopathic medicine. Look at what the options are besides medication, vaccines, antibiotics. Look at nutrition. Look at essential oils. Look at things that can go to the core of anxiety, concentration, nutrition, support. Because I'll tell you, I'm the first person to tell you that my poor children were guinea pigs for me as I sort of did hack healing. It's like, this isn't working. The ear infections, the allergies to milk, these things are not working. So I got Eat Right for Your blood type, found out that we were all A's, and we literally ruled out dairy and gluten for the first 12 years of their lives until they were 13, 14, and then that went out the door. But then they got to make their own choices. Try new things yourself. Explore parenting, discipline options, ways to communicate compassionately. And so as the mentor, as the guide, you're like the hack guide, right? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm making it up as I go along, and I'm finding some really, really good resources. So I'm going to start moving these resources forward with you. I'm the hack parent. I'm making it up as I go along. Remember, we're novices and we're rebels. So we're going to make it up as we go along. Create your own lifestyle, which is where you want to live. Do what you want to do. If you need to be close to a certain educational environment, go there where it is. If being out in the woods is really, really important to your children, go there. Now, I'm not talking about something really unrealistic like who could do this, when and where and how, because I've created this. You know, when I was married and my kids were little, we were living in Texas, and it was real apparent that that wasn't going to work for us. So we recreated the option of starting over and going to Bend, Oregon, and co-founded a K-8 non-graded school that was creative, effortlessly creative. And that's what I know that my children needed. That's what I know I needed. And so it was a community of support that held our family together for years. So hack life, right? Create the life that you want. Find out what your kids really need and what you really need and why. And then be curious, engaged, awake, conscious, intentional, enthusiastic about the life that you choose, about the life that you're directing, the lives that you're in charge of. And please understand that I'm not really talking about dropping everything and centering life around your children. Don't indulge them. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that you still need to guide them with boundaries. Absolutely. You need to know what the boundaries are, and then you need to guide them with compassionate action, which is these are the things that you're going to try, and I get it, and I'm just going to redirect you into another area. Holding the elder position as a guide or as a mentor. Hey, I'm a parent. I'm older than you, and I get to be the guide, right? I'm not your friend. I'm not going to get down there and ask you for advice. I'm going to be the parent. And so at all times, we're going to figure out what we need to do together as a family, but I'm the parent. I'm the adult. And then you learn and you grow and you play along with your child. As you learn something new, share it with them. When they see you taking classes in the areas of your passion, then you're motivating them to find out what their passion is. If you're stuck at work every day and you're thinking, oh, woe is me, this is a horrible life, what are you teaching them about adulthood? Adulthood doesn't have to be boring, and it doesn't have to be horrible, and it doesn't have to be stressful. Adulthood is what we want to teach our children, that is possible, that is fun, that this is what your intention is to play as an adult and teach them how to do that themselves. So we're hack adulting. We are making life up as we go along. We're being the rebel. We are most definitely going rogue. We're going off in a different direction. And Melody, I saw that you have 2 or 3 of those kids. I got 3 of them. So when we hacked life, when we hacked school, when we hacked nutrition, when we hacked healing, it was all about, finding out what each person needs and being able to address that together as a family. So these are the kind of things I do. And if you want some courage, you want someone to boost you up and tell you that you can do hack life, you give me a call. That's what I do. You can find me on DeniseDrydenCoaching.com, and have a wonderful Sunday. Get out there and play if you can, and take care. Bye-bye.